That was Threshold. Yeah, Threshold with The Man Who Saw Through Time off of Legends of the Shires. That was the unwrapping of that disc. Just came in the mail this week, and you and I listened to that song for the first time together. It was fresh out of the cellophane. That was pretty good stuff. It went about 12 minutes long. Not bad. It's a double CD set. This week I will listen to more of it. Hopefully I'll be driving around a lot and have some good quality metal listening time in the car. And I'll find some other good tracks and share them with you. And also this week I'll see if I can go spot a new CD or something that's new-ish and do this again, have it shipped to me by next week's show and do an unwrapping there. I have no ideas just yet. If you have an idea, drop it to metalprofessor.com if you know of a disc that... not metalprofessor.com, metalprofessor@gmail.com. There is a metalprofessor.com, but I don't have a message box or anything there. But you should go check that out too. But if there's a disc out there you think I'll like, based on what I play here, drop me a note, metalprofessor@gmail.com, and maybe I will unwrap that one. But that puts a halt to Mostly Metal for now. It's 9 o'clock. It's WVLP. It's 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. We're on Central Time here. It's 9 o'clock during the live show. Now, this show is replayed Wednesday night from 10 to midnight. And so it's probably, if things are going well, just a hair past 11 o'clock. And if you hear anything during the replay that sounds weird in terms of a time that I say, well, it's because you're listening to the replay instead of the live broadcast on Sunday night. And so, with the end of Mostly Metal in the first hour, at least temporarily, we now have the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. And if that doesn't take up the full rest of the second hour, then I'll play some more metal to close things out.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated.
And away we go. It's the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. I'm Ken, the Metal Professor. You're on WVLP here in Valparaiso. I love heavy metal. That was the first hour. I love wrestling. That's the second hour. And this was a busy weekend for wrestling in this area. We had 6 different shows that you could pick up from between Friday evening and this afternoon. So I went to 2 shows in the area, one Friday, one Saturday. I took today off. I had other things to do. And I'll tell you about the first show that I saw right here, right now. And then for the second show, I'm going to play for you an audio recap based on audio that I recorded while I was there with my equipment. I bring my little mixing board, big mixing board actually, and I'm not bragging, it was free. My brother-in-law gave it to me, which was very nice. And now I can bring this big mixing board and have a couple of different microphones set up to talk to people. And I did that. You'll actually hear an interview that I got with the Bambino family when we're talking about next week's show down in Crawfordsville. But for now, let me tell you about ACW Franklin Fight Night 2. This was a card that took place on Friday night, and it was in Hammond or Whiting, right there on Calumet Avenue, which is like the north-south Mason-Dixon line between those two communities. You never know which one you're in, depending on which one the wind is blowing, I guess. But let's call it Whiting because just down the street on 119th from where this event was is the big downtown Whiting district that I actually recognize. Yummy White Castle on the corner. There used to be a restaurant there called Dimitri's, another block down, and I don't know if it's still there, but my wife and I used to have breakfast there a lot when she lived in Whiting. Really good food. One of those places with a 12-page menu and pancakes the size of Jupiter, things like that. I'm distracted. I must be hungry. ACW, Acme Championship Wrestling, Franklin Fight Night 2 was a fundraiser for Franklin Elementary School. Now, don't be confused because it took place at Clark High School. but that's probably because Clark High School had the better facilities for a wrestling show. And this show had 6 different matches on it. One of them was sort of a teacher's or school special match that didn't involve the regular performers in any significant way. The show started when the Acme general manager, Michael Allen, came out, got on the microphone. He's always introduced at the beginning of the show. Sometimes he talks, sometimes he doesn't. This time he grabbed the microphone, and there's a new person in ACW that's been on a few shows recently. His name is Arun. He is doing well. He's impressing people, and so Michael Allen tells him that he deserves some more chances in the company, and so if he's able to beat TK0 in tonight's match, then Arun's going to get a match against Cliff Caviar for the ACW Tough Man Championship. And he may have been originally scheduled to face Cliff Caviar this Friday night, but Cliff Caviar just happened to not be there. Go figure. Perhaps Whiting was not luxurious enough to deserve Cliff Caviar, but either way, regardless, he was not there. Draw your own conclusions. So TK0 stepped up, had a match with Arun, and Arun won. And so Arun will be taking on Cliff Caviar for the ACW Tough Man Championship at a future event. I believe it will be May 11th. The second match was a 3-way fight between Brentley Alexander Dawson, Thomas Keith, and Cujo. Now, Brentley Alexander Dawson and Thomas Keith were heels. Cujo was the face, and so it was basically 2-on-1 almost the entire time, except when it would get to the point where one of Dawson or Keith would try to pin Cujo. The other one would get indignant and throw the other person off and say, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm supposed to get the pin." And you know how that goes in wrestling. But eventually Thomas Keith wins this match, and what that means is that he is the number 1 contender for Jared Kripke's Intercontinental Championship. Speaking of which, the match after that was Jared Kripke defending his Intercontinental Championship against Kyle Kaler. This match was all over the place. The guys were in the ring, out of the ring, through the ropes, in the air, on the ground, submission holds, all sorts of stuff going on. It was good stuff. Jared Kripke eventually won. Thomas Keith came back out. Well, hello, computer. Thomas Keith came back out to remind Jared Kripke who the number 1 contender is, and I'm assuming that they're going to have a match at the next show or one of the next 2 shows. And then right before intermission, we had Dave Allen and Billy the Kid. They had a last man standing match. This is the culmination of a series of matches between the two, and General Manager Michael Allen had enough of their shenanigans at the last show, and so for this particular show he decided they would have a last man standing match, which means the match continues with no disqualifications until one man cannot answer the 10 count. And so they got out of the ring, they went around the gym to the bleachers along the rails, giving the kids a good show. Eventually things came back into the ring, and the way this match ended was that Billy the Kid drug Dave Allen over to a corner. Allen was laying on his front, and usually this move means somebody's about to get something really painful to happen. The opponent, in this case Billy the Kid, is standing outside the ring. Has dragged Dave Allen over to the corner, who's face down near the ring post, grabs Allen's ankles and starts sliding him towards the ring post. And this is usually a wishbone kind of situation that you don't wish on anyone. But instead of preventing Dave Allen from having any more descendants, he slides him gently over to the ring post, and then pulls out duct tape and duct tapes Dave Allen's ankles together around the ring post. And so Dave Allen is laying down. The ref starts counting to 10, and he can't get up and answer the 10 count because his legs are duct taped together around the ring post. And so Billy the Kid won that match. That was pretty clever. After intermission, Phantasmo came out. I had never seen Phantasmo before. I don't know if anybody else had seen Phantasmo before, but he was a thing. He came out and he took on Crimson Dynamo, and he defeated Crimson Dynamo. The second to last match was the school special. This was a teacher battle royal where a bunch of teachers from Franklin Elementary came out with a few of the regular workers in there just to make sure nothing went catastrophically wrong. but they were eliminated quickly. It came down to two teachers who happened to be the same two teachers who fought at the end of whatever happened last year. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember these two guys being in the end of that match as well. And the winner's name was Mr. J. The kids are very, very happy about that result. And then the real main event of the show was Rockstar Johnny Nye taking on Drex Odell. Drex Odell has held the ACW Heavyweight Championship for a while now. General Manager Michael Allen keeps throwing opponents at him, one after the other, and nobody can get the job done and take it away. So this time it was Rockstar Johnny Nye's turn. Eventually, the two of them got tied up in the corner, and they were being mean to each other. The referee was calling for a break. Nobody was breaking, and so the referee disqualified both men, called it a no contest, match over. So the combatants were not happy. The crowd was not happy. Drex Odell was happy to get out of there without losing his title, though. And as he was leaving, Johnny Nye got on the microphone, and in an attempt to get one more match with Odell, he put his career on the line. So at one of the next ACW shows coming up, it's going to be Rockstar Johnny Nye against Drex Odell in a career versus title match. Now, I've said a couple of times one of the upcoming ACW shows, because in May there are two shows, one right after the other in the space of a week. So the first one is May 11th at Lake Village Elementary School down in Lake Village, Indiana, which is a little bit west of DeMont. So that'll be Friday, May 11th. And then the Friday after that, May 18th, will be one of their kind of regular big annual events called Schools Out, and that will be at Lincoln Elementary School in Roselawn, Indiana. So Friday, May 11th and Friday, May 18th, again, two ACW shows, both at regional schools. They're fundraisers, so it's a good cause. If you want to try one of these shows out, go ahead and get out there. Give it a shot. It's good stuff. All right. Last night, I went to see a show by Backbreaker Wrestling. This was in Griffith, Indiana, at the St. Mary complex, the St. Mary's Catholic Church complex. They have a room called Hildebrandt Hall, which is big and spacious and a really good space to see a show like this. I brought all the recording gear, and I recorded audio from the show, and so you're going to get here a recap of this show in audio form. The sound will fade in and fade out, because what I did was I captured the beginnings of a match and the end of the match. So you'll hear who's starting the match, you'll hear the winners, and then it'll kind of fade out and fade back up again to the next match, all the way through the card. There are 5 matches altogether, and you'll get the whole picture of what went on and maybe get a sense of the show through the audio. After that, we will talk about next weekend's New Generation Wrestling show down in Crawfordsville, and I have some Facebook promos that some of the workers have put out there to let their opponents know what is in store for them. And also, I was able to sit down with the Bambino family yesterday before the Backbreaker show and talk to them about their upcoming match next weekend against the Rock and Roll Express. And you old-timers, maybe not old-timers, maybe anybody who just follows wrestling at all will remember the Rock and Roll Express, and we're talking about those guys. They're still around. They're doing the independent circuit, and they will be in Indiana next week. So anyway, this is going to be audio captured at Backbreaker Wrestling show on the ropes last night in Griffith, Indiana. It's Saturday night, April 21st, a little bit after 5:30. I'm sitting here in the St. Mary Catholic Church complex in Griffith, Indiana, Hildebrandt Hall, awaiting the beginning of Backbreaker Wrestling's On the Ropes. I've basically taken the studio on the road. I have my computer, I have some microphones, so you'll hear, as this show goes on, you'll hear an interview or two, if I'm lucky enough to get some other people to talk to me, that I'm capturing while I'm here this evening. But otherwise, just like a couple of weeks ago that I did at New Generation Wrestling, which was a lot of fun, I was going to capture some sounds of what's going on at the wrestling show. The show starts at 6. The doors opened at 5:30. You can hear people in the background. It's 5:37, and the line hasn't stopped at the ticket desk yet. So there were people waiting eagerly outside the doors for the doors to open so they could come in and get their seats. This is a great place for a show. The ceilings are high. There's good sight lines everywhere. There's the music in the background, so I'll have to talk a little bit louder. But things will get underway in about 20 minutes, and I'll check back in with the start of the show. So the national anthem has been played. card is underway. Perfect Silence, Kevin Crowley and Johnny Motley in the ring. The first bell ring of the night is always fun, and it's about to happen. The boos you're hearing are because another wrestler, Dick Davis, ex-partner of Johnny Motley, has run into the ring and attacked Motley before the match was even over. The ref has called for a DQ. Now he's yanking on his hair. That's just rude. The next match about to start has the Bambino family, friends of the show, Dom and Vince, taking on Dave Allen, also a friend of the show, and Luis Rojas. I don't know who to root for. I think I'll root for the Bambinos right now. You'll hear from them in a little bit about their match next week down at Crawfordsville, Indiana at New Generation Wrestling against the Rock and Roll Express. Dave Allen and Luis Rojas have just won the match with the help of Jeremy Hadley. The Bambinos were about to execute their tag team finisher when Jeremy Hadley grabbed the foot of Dom Bambino, preventing him from helping his partner. He got mad, started chasing Hadley outside the ring. That was a distraction. It allowed Dave Allen to get the pin on Vinny Bambino. And that pop of celebration you just heard happened when Pops Bambino fed Jeremy Hadley back into the ring so that the Bambino boys could get their revenge on him. And Luis Rojas is dragging Hadley's carcass out of the ring. Hopefully he'll get medical attention. He's thrown him over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes, and he's carrying him to the back. Dick Davis, who you may remember interfered in the first match, is coming out for his own. I have mixed feelings about this because he's a bad guy. He's a heel. He's already done a really nasty thing. But he's coming at the chain by Jefferson Starship, which you can probably hear, although it might sound a bit muddled. So I gotta like him for that. I don't know what to do. Davis's opponent, Angus McDuff, is out to the ring now. And this match is about to start. McDuff must be mad at Davis for what he did before to Johnny Motley, because he's trying to get at him before the bell rang. But there's the bell, and now these guys can go at it. Dick Davis has won after he smashed Angus McDuff into the corner, into the turnbuckle. I'm sad that he won, but I'm happy that we get to listen to Jane some more. Davis is absorbing the crowd's boos, and he loves it. The Masters are at ringside. They're supporting Brentley Alexander Dawson. He's slowly getting into the ring where his opponent, the ice pick, Vic Capri, awaits. Capri is a lot more muscular than anyone from the Masters, so this ought to be interesting. The Masters are taking their time. They're having words with the crowd. Waiting for the bell. Dawson fakes going into the ring, jumps back out. Now the Masters are huddling like a football team, coming up with a strategy. And I think Capri might be about to jump on their heads. Yep. Right out through the ring ropes. And I guess that gets the match started. Now he's punching everybody. Has banished the other two members of the Masters from ringside and sent them back to the locker room. And the match is underway for real. Vic Capri got the pinfall over Brentley Alexander Dawson. This is the first match I've seen in a long time, if not ever, that involved an atomic wedgie. He just gave Dawson a little bit of extra what for in the ring before he cleared out. The main event of the show is an 8-man over-the-top gauntlet for the brand new and debuting Backbreaker Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. The way this gauntlet match is going to work with 8 people in it is 4 men start. When one gets eliminated over the top rope, somebody else comes out to replace him until all 8 men have come through. The opening 4 contestants are Kurt Joseph, Ace of Top Guns, Trog the Caveman, and Ryu Shinzaki, who just came out in a really neat ring outfit to that quite different entrance music. Kurt Joseph doesn't want anything to do with Shinzaki. Oh, look, neither does Ace. They're both kind of backing out through the ropes. Trog the Caveman, on the other hand, he's got no worries. He's puzzled what the big deal is. But no contact yet.
Shinzaki's making very small moves. Frog the Caveman doesn't quite know how to react. Still no contact. Kurt Joseph and Ace, they've just sat down. They're kind of taking it easy through this opening bit. How does the Caveman know how to put on his ring attire? That's a mystery yet to be solved. Finally contact. Shinzaki has just basically gently pushed Frog into the ropes. Now Frog is biting Shinzaki's hand, and the match is underway for good. Oh man, I stepped away from the table just for a minute. I won't tell you why. You can probably guess. I did go to Starbucks earlier. While I was away, Ryu Shinzaki was eliminated, and TK0 is now out as his replacement. So TK0 is the fifth man in this 8-man over-the-top rope tag team, not tag team, over-the-top rope gauntlet match for the brand new Backbreaker Wrestling Championship. Frog the Caveman is still alive in the ring. Kurt Joseph just eliminated Ace over the top rope, so Ace is out. Shooter McGavin is in. The referee is taking away Shooter McGavin's driver. Like golf club driver, not personal driver. Shooter McGavin is part of the Masters. All three of them come with their green sweater vests. Kurt Joseph is also in the Masters. It'll be interesting if it ends up just being the two of them. Kurt Joseph versus Shooter McGavin. I'm saying Shooter McGavin, and I think I'm having flashbacks to like Caddyshack or something. So I'm going to double check if it's not Shooter or something else. TK0 was eliminated, which is a shame. He was my pick to win the whole thing. Dang it. Gabe the Brave Juarez is his replacement. And so there's only one more mystery person left to go. Still hanging in there, Kurt Joseph, Shooter McGavin, McGinnis, something. I'll figure it out later. With all due respect and apologies to him, because if he hears this, he's probably not going to like that I can't remember his dang name. And while I said that, Kurt Joseph has been eliminated. And Universal Bomber is the last entrant in this match. So we got Frog the Caveman, Shooter, Gabe the Brave, and Universal Bomber, the final four contestants. Things are getting pretty interesting here. Gabe the Brave Juarez was eliminated. Shooter McGavin, and yes, it is McGavin. As long as the notes on my webpage about the show were correct. You know, I put on my webpage, metalprofessor.com, lists of upcoming shows. And sometimes if I know the matches, I'll write down the matches. And I wrote down the 8 competitors in this gauntlet match. And I did type in Shooter McGavin, so I'm hoping that's right. But that's not the point. The point is that he eliminated Universal Bomber. And now it's down to Trog the Caveman and Shooter McGavin to see who becomes the first ever Backbreaker Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Shooter McGavin is celebrating in the ring because he is the first Backbreaker Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Trog the Caveman was about to eliminate him. He was teetering on the edge of falling to the floor when his partner Kurt Joseph rushed out from the back and nudged him back into the ring so that he wasn't eliminated. The two referees attending the match tried to hustle Joseph to the back, and while that was happening and Trog the Caveman was distracted by that, Shooter McGavin snuck up and threw Trog the Caveman out over the top rope. And so Shooter McGavin is your first Backbreaker Wrestling heavyweight champion. McGavin and Joseph are celebrating in the ring, and the crowd is leaving, not pleased.
Nobody likes Shooter McGavin, but everybody likes a free wrestling show. Fest, June 16th at Cornerstone Community Church is our next Backbreaker show, and it is free. The Chick-fil-A cow will be there with giveaways.
The crowd is filing out, not quite sure what to think of Shooter McGavin being their heavyweight champion. But as this show is over, the next Backbreaker Wrestling event is called FAM Fest, F-A-M-F-E-S-T. This is part of looks like a big to-do with live bands, concession, obstacle courses, and of course a wrestling show. This is on June 16th at Cornerstone Community Church in Hobart, Indiana. The gate to the church, the area will open at 2:30 and 3 o'clock bell time for the wrestling show portion of this event. This is free. So if you haven't been to a local wrestling show and you want to check it out, but you're not quite ready to commit actual money to it, this is going to be a great chance to come check it out. So it's about 2 months away from now. And if you wait that long without seeing a show, you ought to consider coming out. It'll be a good time. Again, the next Backbreaker Wrestling show, June 16th, Cornerstone Community Church in Hobart, 3 o'clock bell time. That wraps it up. Ken the Metal Professor here, reporting from Griffith, Indiana, Backbreaker Wrestling. And if things are going well, then the next thing you'll hear on the air on WVLP here is my interview with the Bambino family about their show coming up next weekend in Crawfordsville, Indiana, where they're going to take on the Rock and Roll Express. And yes, that is that Rock and Roll Express of WWE fame. Alrighty then. Well, thank you, Ken. Let's send it back to Ken. I'm Ken the Metal Professor in the studio at WVLP. WVLP is Valparaiso's community radio station at 103.1 low power FM. You can also check us out at WVLP.org or the TuneIn Radio app. Now, the last 15 to 20 minutes you heard was an audio recap of audio captured at the Backbreaker Wrestling show on the ropes last night in Griffith, Indiana. And I mentioned an interview with the Bambino family that should be coming up soon, and it will be coming up soon, but we'll get there. I don't want to jump on that right away. It'll kind of be the main event of what's coming up in the remaining time here on the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. I just gave you 2 recaps of shows this weekend. Once I just sat here and yapped and gave the recap of Acme Championship Wrestling's Franklin Fright Night 2, and then you heard all the sound from Backbreakers on the ropes last night. If you missed any part of it and you want more details or more time to spend or just some still photos, you can go to metalprofessor.com. And you can see the blog posts at that webpage, have descriptions of the shows and the results, and also some photos thrown in for good measure. Usually not very good photos, but, I'm sitting there with my camera, usually just sitting in the chairs like a fan, and you get what you get. Now let's look ahead to next weekend, because there is a show going on in Crawfordsville, Indiana. It's New Generation Wrestling, and it is their 10th anniversary show. They're bringing in the Rock and Roll Express. And that day is actually a longer event for people that are working wrestlers or at least trained wrestlers, because at 3 o'clock on Saturday, April 28th,
at the National Guard Armory, you can take part in a wrestling seminar hosted by the Rock and Roll Express and get extra trained in some of those in-ring skills that you might want to brush up on. The cost of that is $40. And again, that is for active wrestlers and trainees. A prelude to the NGW show is the training session at 3 o'clock at the Armory, Saturday, April 28th. You can RSVP by email to ngwindiana@yahoo.com. Now, later that night, starting at 6:30 p.m., and again, this is Crawfordsville, so that's Eastern time. That's 5:30 for us in Valpo. And if you want to go, you're talking probably an hour and a half to 2 hour drive, which means you're leaving at possibly 3:30, if not sooner. But it's going to be a good show. The Rock and Roll Express are going to take on the Bambino family, and in just a few minutes, you'll hear words from the Bambino family about that. Another match that is certain is the number one contender, Justin Myers, taking on the NGW champion, Jeremy Hadley. And here is what Jeremy Hadley has to say to Justin Myers.
You feel it? You feel it? Here we are. We are 9 days out from NGW's 10-year anniversary show. April 28th, National Guard Armory in Crawfordsville, Indiana. And on that night, Justin Myers is going to cash in his championship material challenge contract and get a shot at this. See, this is the problem. Pride. Justin, you had a briefcase. You had a opportunity to come out, cash in your briefcase when I was vulnerable. But you know what you did? You chose to be a man and have pride and give me a month. You gave me a month. A month to plot, a month to think, a month to plan. So I'm gonna make it clear. April 28th, you want this? Come and get it, but I'm gonna make it clear. You ain't gonna know what hit you.
Also on this card will be Jared Kripke, billed as Lafayette's favorite son, against Jonathan Wolf. And Jonathan Wolf is billed as a member of IFHY. I have no idea what that stands for, so I'm going to consider this investigative journalism when I go down there for this show. And if I remember, I will let you know what it meant after all. Jonathan Wolf is not sweating this match whatsoever, as you can probably tell by listening to this.
April 28th at NGW in Crawfordsville, Indiana, I will be facing Jared Kripke, and you know, I would have a lot to say about somebody usually when I wrestled them, but Kripke, I know nothing about you. I don't care where you came from, what you've done, because it don't matter. Because, you know, when you step in the ring with me, everything you've learned, everything you was taught means nothing. So come April 28th in Crawfordsville, Indiana, you're going to find out why IFHY is a top group.
And we'll also find out what IFHY stands for. At least I will. Well, I'm going to interrupt here in post-production, I suppose we can say. When this show originally aired Sunday night, Jonathan Wolf had just released that promo via Facebook earlier in the day. Maybe Saturday, but I think it was Sunday. And so I was able to capture that audio. But in the meantime, since this show was originally aired on Sunday, Jared Kripke has responded, also via Facebook. And so I've captured the audio from that. And while it was too late to be in the original broadcast, and it's way too much trouble to sneak it into the rebroadcast on Wednesday night, at least I can sneak it in here to where this version of the show will last forever in perpetuity on YouTube. And so Jared Kripke will get his words in, at least here.
Jonathan Wolf versus Jared Kripke this Saturday, Crawfordsville Armory for New Generation Wrestling. Any other day, that'd be a main event. But the Rock and Roll Express is going to be there, so I'll let it pass this time. Man, doors open at 5:45. I know I'll be the first person there because I saw Jonathan Wolf's video. He said he didn't have anything to say about me. He didn't know enough about me. That's pretty convenient because everywhere I've been for the past year and a half, past 3 years since I started, they've been saying, man, this guy's the new Jonathan Wolf. This guy, this rookie, this young guy, man, this is the guy to look out for. He's exciting. He's a future champion. This guy's the guy to look out for. So I think it's pretty convenient you don't have anything to say about me when everybody else has to say about me, they used to say about you. I'll see you this Saturday and I'll give you something to talk about. Fear the beard? Fear this, buddy.
Luis Rojas and his tag team partner that you'll hear about will be taking on Pinnacle FC, which is Drex Odell and TK0. And here is what Luis Rojas has to say. And Luis Rojas is the gentleman who made an appearance on WVLP a few weeks ago when I went down there for an NGW show, had the gear set up, was recording audio, just like I had done for Backbreaker earlier in this show. And as he was walking past, he grabbed the microphone and he said, I don't know what radio station this is. Is this Valpo? Well, Luis Rojas hates you too. It's that Luis Rojas. Here's what he has to say to Pinnacle FC.
Everybody has nightmares. Everybody occasionally wakes up in cold sweats. It's happened to me many times since September of last year. That fateful night when Pinnacle FC, Drex, Odell, TK0, they upset Jason Levi and myself. They pinned me. They hit me with their finishing maneuver and pinned me in under 30 seconds. Can't escape it. It's like the boogeyman under your bed or hiding in the closet. Now, we regained the titles in January of this year, and I still have those nightmares. But on April 28th, I plan on exorcising those demons once and for all. When that boogeyman comes out from under the bed, I'm gonna stomp it. Drex, when you try to nail me with your vicious clothesline, I know what to prepare for. No longer will I live in fear. No, because April 28th, Texas tornado rules. That means for you Crawfordsville cretins that don't know, it's simple. All four men are allowed in the ring, around the ring, to use any weapon whenever they want. It's the rubber match, fellas. You guys have won one. We've won one. April 28th, I'm not afraid anymore. Jason Levi and myself will walk away the same way we walked in, the NGW Tag Team Champions.
So this show is looking pretty stacked, and the main event, at least I'm guessing it's going to be the main event, will be the Rock and Roll Express against the Bambino family. The Bambinos were at the Backbreaker show last night. They sat down with me to give me their thoughts on this upcoming match, and here's what they had to say.
Pardon the sounds of clashing and banging in the background, but we are set up here, I'm set up here at Backbreaker Wrestling. It's Saturday, April, what's today, the 21st? All right. And just getting ready to talk to the Bambino family. I've set up a table here to talk to some folks, and you can hear in the background people practicing, beating each other up, and it's a noisy process, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt.
So the reason I'm talking to you guys is you have a big show coming up, and so to my left is Pops, and then we have Dom and Vinny, the Bambino family with Pops, and they've been a guest at WVLP before. This time we're on the road.
Hey, thanks for having us back, Ken Luther. We appreciate it. you're not too bad of a guy.
Oh, thanks. That's good that I have some status there. Let's start with the most immediate thing. You're here for Backbreaker Wrestling. What's you got going on tonight?
So tonight, we're back in Northwest Indiana, where we're going to be, seeing the great fans up here in the great Northwest, in the region, if you will. And it's, Bam Bambino got a start up in this area, so it's kind of like a homecoming for me every time I come up north. Tonight there's a couple of scumbags named, Dave Allen, Luis Rojas, who they say they're gonna. They say they want to take a piece of the Bambino family, so we're gonna test our skills against them.
Is it awkward that were you planning on the full Bromantics, and now you just have half of the Bromantics?
Hey, whatever. I mean, for us, we don't care who it is. It doesn't make a difference to us. We're always ready, right, boys?
That's exactly right.
And after this week, once you dust off and rest for a while, you'll be heading down to Crawfordsville, Indiana for the 10th anniversary show of New Generation Wrestling. And that's going to be next Saturday night, the 28th.
That's right.
That sounds like it's a big show, a nice I want to say memorial, but it's not like somebody's from NGW's died. It's an anniversary show. It's a happy thing.
Celebration, 10 years.
And for part of this celebration, they are bringing in the Rock and Roll Express. And you guys are going to take them on.
Yeah, let's get something straight here. It's a punishment to the Bambino family. They're bringing the Rock and Roll Express in as punishment. They said, you guys been cheating. You've been, you've been double-crossing everybody, and cheating to get the win. And we beat up TK Zero and Drex Odell, the Pinnacle FC. We beat them up a bunch of times, but they get the tag team title shot, and we're gonna have to wrestle the Rock and Roll Express as punishment for our cheating ways. How dare them? That commissioner down there, that Nina Valentine, she got some nerve.
So they're bringing in the Rock and Roll Express as a Bambino family control tactic. Is that what's going on?
That's what they think they're doing.
Yeah, they think they're doing.
As opposed to learning that they were coming in and then you stepped up to approach them, they're kind of being brought in because you guys are already there. Which means that the word's getting around about the Bambino family, I think.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, you can only beat up so many people before people start paying attention, right?
What we've been doing and where we've been, everybody ought to know about the Bambino family by now.
So let's make sure everybody understands the sort of the magnitude of this. This is the Rock and Roll Express, WWE Hall of Famers. They've been around since like 1983, so going on 30 some odd years of experience. So these are the guys that have had battles on Starcades, on Great American Bashes, Clash of Champions, WrestleManias. Are you ready for that?
I don't think we've ever been more ready for anything in our entire lives. We've been training hard. We've been working hard. We've got strategy. There's no way we don't come out on top in this.
So when you make a long list of the teams that the Rock and Roll Express have combated with, is combated a verb? I guess it is now if it wasn't. But we're looking at, from way back in the day, Lanny Poffo and Randy Savage, the Midnight Express, the Sheep Herders, Ole and Arn Anderson, the Heavenly Bodies, the Gangstas, Faces of Fear, Legion of Doom. These are teams that the Rock and Roll Express has taken on and beat. And adding to that list, the Bambino family. You're planning on being on top, but are there guarantees? They've got a lot of experience. I wrote down this list, and that's some heavy company you guys are going to be in terms of people that have taken them on.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's plain and simple. We've got something that the Rock and Roll Express doesn't have. All right. The blood that flows through my veins is the blood that flows through Vinny Here's veins. It's the blood that flows through Pop's veins. All right. There ain't no bond stronger than that bond. Okay. Therefore, there ain't no team better than a team like this. I'm telling you, there's no way we lose come the 28th.
I mean, And let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, those teams you named off, legends, Hall of Famers in their own right. Great names to have, our names involved in the same category. But no disrespect to those teams, but the Rock and Roll Express is going down. This at the end of the day, this is business that we have to take care of.
Are there any special stipulations to this match, or is this just a good old-fashioned tag team, set them up, knock them down kind of thing?
Good old-fashioned tag team match. No stipulations. Pinfall or submission. That's it.
Okay. What do you have going on after that? Any ideas yet? Any other shows coming up beyond the 28th?
Well, first things first, right? After we retire the Rock and Roll Express, we're gonna have a nice Sunday dinner the next day with our family, and we're gonna indulge in wine and spaghetti and all the other fine dining that we enjoy on Sunday dinners. After that, we're gonna be all over the place. We're going to, next weekend. I think the weekend after that, the weekend of the May. I think Dom, you're gonna be. Where you gonna be, Dom, that weekend? Oh, you're gonna be in Tullahoma on Friday night. What is that? The 4th? The 4th, I think. The 5th. Yeah, the 5th. You're gonna be in Rocket City in Alabama. And then Sunday the 6th, we're gonna be at Infinity Pro in Lafayette, Indiana, facing the Bomb Shelter. Ain't that right?
That's exactly right. And Bomb Shelter, gonna face the same exact fate as the Rock and Roll Express. Forget about it.
I'll tell you what, it's, we owe the Bomb Shelter. We owe them a beating, and I don't want to overlook the beating we're gonna give to the Rock and Roll Express, but they're gonna get Bomb Shelter's gonna get that same beating. You're absolutely correct, and I think they got it coming to them.
Is there a story there?
Oh,
I don't know that one.
There's a history there. The Bomb Shelter is another one of those teams that everybody knows, and they get around the time travelers. Well, we're gonna break their winning streak that they currently have over the Bambino family. We're gonna beat that winning streak, and they're done for. We're gonna get that W. They got a beating coming to them. We're gonna be the following weekend. I know we're going home to one of our many homes, but we're going to go home to Lake Village, Indiana for ACW. Friday the 11th. We'll be back at All-Star Pro Wrestling in Shelbyville on the 12th. Bash for the Babies, New Wave Pro in Greencastle, Indiana on the 19th. Vincenzo's birthday over here. We're gonna be there for Vinny's birthday, celebrating and kicking some behinds for babies, of course. Some charity. The Bambinos are good guys. We like to give to charity.
Yeah, we're not monsters or anything.
Right. But you catch us on Facebook. We're always updating that and giving where we're gonna be. In the immediate future, though, that's where we're going to be.
Okay. And that's a lot of stuff to keep up with. And so if folks want to keep track of the Bambino family, either because they like watching you beat people up or because they're scared of you and they want to run away, Facebook is one way to get it done. And is there any other options? Do you guys do Twitter or?
Yep. We got Twitter page. Sleep with the Fishes is our Twitter page. We have Instagram, the Bambino. What's our Instagram name?
It's the _Bambino _family.
Okay.
Yeah, you can catch us all there on all of those platforms.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'm looking forward to watching your work tonight. And since we are recording this ahead of time, when we're finally on air Sunday night, I'll be able to pop in and tell everybody what happened.
Thanks again for having us.
You're very welcome. I'm hoping to be down there next week in Crawfordsville to watch that too.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you again.
All right.
It'll be a good time.
Except for the Rock and Roll Express.
Not for them.
Not for them. All right. Thank you. And that was it. That was the Bambino family telling me about what's coming up with the Rock and Roll Express. The last several minutes have been about New Generation Wrestling's 10th anniversary show down in Crawfordsville next Saturday night. Bell time at 6:30. You can get tickets in advance at brownpapertickets.com. And if you are a trained wrestler, active or not, the minimum prerequisite is just having been trained. You can take part in a wrestling seminar, an in-ring seminar hosted by the Rock and Roll Express, WWE Hall of Famers. The cost for that is $40. And you can reserve your spot at ngwindiana@yahoo.com. The location of that is the National Guard Armory, which is the same location as the main card, which again begins at 6:30. I plan on going down there for that, and I will bring you news next week, and maybe I can even do the whole audio recap thing, because to me that's more interesting than just listening to me go blah, 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 and speak what the results were. It's easier, too, other than the fact that I've got to edit it all, which that's not a quick process. Whew. So that's it for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program here on WVLP. I'm Ken the Metal Professor. I've had fun. I hope you have, too. Next week will be more mostly metal and wrestling talk. This will replay Wednesday night from 10 to midnight. And there's still several minutes left in the hour. And so I have more heavy metal CDs sitting around that I've picked one here. You're going to listen to some After Forever to close out the hour. This song is Equally Destructive. It's off of their self-titled CD After Forever. Sit back and enjoy. Once that song is done, you'll hear station IDs and then a replay of punk rock radio. Have a good week.